And greetings, another Thursday night Blathercast. Last week I told a couple of stories, and I was editing the night after. I was editing I did a live stream Thursday, and I started editing it on Friday. And right when I got done editing, I checked Twitter one last time before I went to bed, and I saw rumors of explosions in Tehran. And of course, it was more than just rumors. So point is, a whole lot has happened in this past week. This will be my last political podcast for 2, maybe 3 weeks. Next Thursday, being March 12th, 2026, I will be talking about March 12th, 1976, which is the day that I was shipped from county jail to state prison. And I have a couple of stories written about that day. So I'll be sharing them. On this podcast, I'm either telling stories, telling jokes, or talking politics. But if you're watching live, the main, maybe only reason I even do this live instead of recording it, which recording it's a lot less pressure, but I do it live so that people who are watching live have a chance to comment and interact with the flow of what's going on. So absolutely feel free to comment, unless you say something really, really awful. I'm going to read and answer every comment. Yeah. I just like to know who's out there. It's very strange talking about stuff and not knowing who's listening. It really is. They say read the room. How could I read the room when I can't see the room? But right now, I am wondering about the $7,000 I am supposedly supposed to get from Israel for saying nice things about them on Twitter. And I have. Let's get into what Megyn Kelly said this time.
And then there are many, many live humans on X who actually get $7,000 a tweet. People have come out and admitted it from the Israelis.
This is outrageous. I didn't get $7,000. And let me play somebody else who did not get their $7,000. Go ahead, Michael. Preach.
No, it's been over 2.5 years. Megyn Kelly just said that people are getting over $7,000 a post. I've gotten shit. I want my fucking $7,000. I want something. 5. I'll take 2.5. A G. I'll do a fucking G. If she just said people are getting $7,000, I can get a fucking $1,000 per post.
I should have given the language warning at the beginning of this podcast. That's not going to be the last F-bomb you hear in this particular Blathercast. Let me get my pretty face back to full screen. Look at that. Look at us put them. Anyway, but this begs the question. If Megyn Kelly was right and Israel was paying $7,000 per tweet, I would take $7,000 altogether. You know what I could do with $7,000? Do you in the Blatherverse know what I would do with $7,000? Let's start with Trafe. 1,795 slices of New York City pizza. Hey, if you're Midwest oriented, and I'm just going to forgive Chicago for a moment, 233 Chicago deep dishes. While we're on Trafe, 1,102 Big Macs can be bought for $7,000. Personally, I prefer White Castle. Because of White Castle, not 1,102 like Big Macs. White Castle, 2,442 White Castle cheeseburgers. I refuse to call them sliders. Let's move on to, let's get into the kosher side of things. If I had $7,000 from Israel for saying positive things about Israel on Twitter or X or whatever the hell you want to call it, I could get 242 pastrami sandwiches at Katz's. I can even get them on rye. I can even get them with coleslaw with mustard, golden, spicy brown, whatever kind. Dijon mustard. Yeah. I want to go hardcore Israeli. 7,000 falafel balls for $7,000. Hey, for $7,000, I can get a lifetime supply of Manischewitz. I talk about pizza. When I was a kid, a subway ride, and a slice of pizza. The whole time growing up, when I was a kid, 15 cents for a subway token, 15 cents for a slice, 20 cents at Lenny's. That was before Lenny's went Hollywood with the whole Saturday Night Fever thing. You had to walk but Lenny's gave you a bigger slice. So forget Lenny's for a second. Forget about Lenny's. Lenny's, rest in peace, Lenny's. They're gone. But the point being, most places, 15 cents for a slice, 15 cents for a subway ride. They both went up to 20 cents like around 1966 together, 30, 50. But now a subway ride costs less than a New York City slice. So for that $7,000 that I could get if Israel was giving me $7,000 for saying nice things about them on Twitter, I could ride the subway 2,333 times. Well, I don't live in New York. I live in California, which means I can get 43 trips to Disneyland. And think about that for a second. $7,000 only gets you into the Magic Kingdom 43 times. But if you're going to go to the Magic Kingdom, if you've been to the Magic Kingdom, past, present, future, if you're listening to the Blathercast at the Magic Kingdom right now, you know what you want. We know what you want. No, we're not talking about riding Space Mountain. We're not talking about riding the Matterhorn. No. Teacups, Dumbo. No. When you're at Disneyland, what do you want? You want a frozen banana on a stick. Well, if Israel were to pay me $7,000 while I'm at Disneyland, I could purchase 1,120 frozen bananas on 1,120 sticks. But just like Mr. Rappaport, unfortunately, Israel's dollars have not found a way, or rubles or pesos. Well, I'm not sure what Israel even uses. Their currency has not made it to my bank account. Sad to say. So I am going to accept the fact that I am not going to get $7,000 from Israel. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Jersey JM says, bet it all on the Dodgers. That's a great way to lose $7,000. They only talk about the Dodgers. Let me tell you something about the Dodgers. I grew up in Brooklyn. After the Dodgers abandoned Brooklyn. My grandfather was so sad. He was so sad about the Dodgers leaving Brooklyn. And he said to me, Michael, one day you're going to be rich and you're going to buy the Dodgers and you're going to bring them home to Brooklyn. So I was on a lifetime mission to try to make money, to try to make enough money to buy the Dodgers and get them away from that horrible stadium they built up in the hills at Elysian Park. The hot dogs are good, I'll admit that. But the rest of the stadium sucks. Just try leaving after a game one day. It's anyway. And bring them back to Brooklyn. And bring the Dodgers back to Brooklyn. I am going to tell you that I've given up on that. It is, sorry, Grandpa, wherever you are. I can't do it. Every time I make a few dollars, the price goes up by a few $1,000s. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. Yeah, it's heartbreaking when a team leaves. Kamashori Kate says baseball went to hell when the Milwaukee Braves moved to Atlanta, and I feel you. Kamashori Kate. I get it. And the people in Boston probably felt the same way when they moved to Milwaukee, and all this carpetbagging stuff, all of it. Anyway. JM from Jersey, or now Johnny Egypt from Jersey, kind of hijacked the conversation. I had no intention of talking about the Dodgers baseball, but baseball's coming up. Baseball season is coming up, and I am excited about that. Yes, I am. Jersey, Johnny Egypt. No, yeah, you're probably right. You can get 2 tickets to FIFA, but I'm not going to spend $3,500 a ticket of Israeli money watching a bunch of grown men running around in their underwear, kicking a ball. Nothing happens. 0-0. 90 minutes. 0-0. No, I'm sorry. I have no offense to anybody who likes soccer. I don't. I find it extremely boring. So no, I would not buy 2 tickets to FIFA. And well, Kamashwari Kate, Fife is coming to Vancouver, BC. And if you want to go see them, go ahead and start posting positive things about Israel, and maybe you'll have more luck than Michael Rappaport or the Blathering Boomer, and you'll be able to get $7,000 and spend it all on soccer tickets. Okay, here comes the next segment. Starting out with somebody who thinks he's really, really badass, and I'm not going to argue with him.
Barzini's dead. So is Philip Tattaglia. Mo Green. Stracci. Cuneo. Today I settle all family business.
Trump says,
Here, hold him there.
I got stuff to share about Iran. Why did we go in there? Was there a threat? So I'm going to play a clip from Steve Witkoff, who was actually on the ground. He was the negotiator. He was talking face to face with the Iranians. And let's get a little flavor for what transpired there.
I remember the first meeting, Mark, that we had in Muscat. At some point, very, very, very early in the conversation, Arachi laid down the marker by saying enrichment is considered to be, by his leadership, that Iran's inalienable right. That sort of began it. At that point, we began discussing the material. All of the enriched material that they had been stockpiling. It's close to 10,000 kilograms, by the way. And at some point during this interview, I'll take you through the breakdown of it all. But they began discussing it, and Jared was a witness to this. They were talking about the 60% enriched material, which is roughly 460 kilograms. And to get to weapons grade, which is 90% for a bomb, you're about a week, maybe 10 days away when you're at 60%. So they've got all this material at 60%, and it's a obvious concern to us. And he knew it, and he said to us, "You know, and I know, and the Europeans know because they attest to it, that's 11 bombs." So that's why this material is so important to you. And I've described that as them being proud that they held it.
He's making it clear that Iran was on the verge of getting a nuclear weapon. And as scared as I was in 1979, I'd be triple scared now, except that I've lived most of my life at this point. Back in 79, I was 25 years old. It was all in front of me. Now it's a lot behind me, but I'm not done yet. I'm still blathering, and you're going to hear a lot of stories as I go on. This is liberation, in my opinion. If everything I'm hearing turns out to be propaganda, I will get on a Blathercast and apologize to the Blatherverse humbly. But right now, I can only go, my opinion's only shaped by the seemingly credible things that I hear. And again, I'm going to play some more of the Steve Witkoff thing. So rather than talk about playing it, why don't I just play it?
That this was something of a trophy that they had. And there's no doubt in my mind that that's how they thought about it, about that material. But let me tell you one last point about that first meeting, because it's sort of fascinating. As we were talking about all the material, and the material includes roughly 8,000 kilograms of enriched material at 3.67%, another 1,000 kilograms at 20%. Which is a story unto itself, and then roughly 460 kilograms at 60. We were talking.
Let me say this, Steve, for the audience. A kilogram, I just looked it out, is 2.2 pounds. Go ahead. I'm sorry. That's right.
So they have in total around 10,000 kilograms, which is 24,000 pounds enriched uranium.
Sorry, Steve. I'm anal when it comes to math. It's 22,000 pounds. Oh, well.
That was never intended to be used, Mark, for civil purposes, and that could only do one thing. It could only be stockpiled in a move towards weaponization. It's the only reason why you would have it. But let me give you a telltale sign, because part of the reason we were there for the president was not just to negotiate. We were negotiating, but we were there to give the president an honest read on what we felt their motivations were and whether they would do a deal that was enforceable. So I'm gonna read you what I wrote down at that first meeting as to what they said to us. Their lead negotiator, the foreign minister from Iran, said the following, talking about giving up the material. Why would we will? Oh, here it is. We will not give you at the negotiating table what you could not win militarily in Midnight Hammer.
Jeez. So
Now,
wasn't going to give it up.
He didn't say Midnight Hammer because that's our
Right.
word. You know, we named it. So he didn't say that, but he basically said, we're just not going to hand it over to you. Now here we were, you know, with ships in the region. We were posturing for all the right reasons. It's peace through strength. It's the only way you're going to get them to the table. Without that, they were never going to be at the table. And we're there presumably because they're in a tough spot and they're going to be compromising and elastic. And yet you hear these, what I'll call maximalist statements. We're not going to give you at the negotiating table what you couldn't win militarily. And I remember thinking to myself, this, you know, pretty much foreshadows how they're going to be. And it was, you know, that set that in my view, and there were plenty of other, you know, alerts to us, but this was, remember, the first meeting, Mark.
So to be clear, we had this first meeting. They had over a ton of this fissile material, over a ton. That's what you said, 2,400 pounds. And they're telling you it's off the table.
No, it's more than that. We have
more?
10,000 kilograms. It's 10,000 times 2.2.
Oh my God. 24,000.
Neither of these guys is any good at math. Neither of these guys any good at math. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit outraged about that. 10,000 kilograms is 22,000 pounds. They both made the same mistake. I'm embarrassed for them. Put that aside. That's just the blathering boomer being mathematically anal. The question is, short-term discomfort for long-term gain. Imagine you're in a bathtub, a nice warm bath, and the bathroom is cold and your bathrobe is hanging from the door. And when you get out of the tub, you have to experience the cold of the bathroom before you put on that robe. Well, if you stay in the tub, you're going to turn into a prune. You know, you can't stay in the tub forever. That leads to bad things. So you got to go through the discomfort of getting out of the tub, and it's cold, to put on your robe, get nice and warm, get dry, get dressed. Right now, the situation in the Middle East is we've been in that bathtub for way too long. Way too long. It's time to go through the discomfort and put on that robe. Again, imagine that we could have peace in the Middle East. Ellen from the BQE not only weighing in, but she's named herself Ellen from the BQE. I didn't know if she was from Ellen from Brooklyn, Ellen from Queens. So I compromised. I don't usually compromise. I had a compromise in this case. Ellen from the BQE said that I told that analogy to her in 1992. Well, I guess I like being consistent. Yeah, and actually, you know, I know the context in which I told that analogy, and 1992 sounds about right. I was talking about addiction and recovery, how addiction was the warm bathtub that you're used to, and recovery was that well, the initial part of recovery was going through that freezing cold to get to the bathrobe, and then getting the bathrobe on and getting warm again. That's what actual recovery is. So congratulations, Ellen from the BQE, on calling out the blathering boomer for plagiarism. Plagiarism. Or is it plagiarism if I plagiarize myself? I'm extremely flattered that Ellen from the BQ remembered I said that in 1992 is right about when I said that, because I was deep in recovery back then. Recovery is a whole other topic that I'll be talking about when I start telling the stories. Once again, I'm going to get back to the stories a week from tonight, Thursday night, March 12th, 2026. Happens to be a Thursday, and I'm going to read the story about the day that I was transferred from county jail to state prison, because it was a good day. Now imagine what your life must be like when you say that the day they took me to state prison was a good day. I'm going to go off topic for just a second. I'm going to get back to the whole Iran thing, because it is the most important thing going on in the world right now. Not just right now, most important thing going on in the world since October 7th, I dare say. But Jasmine Crockett lost her primary. She lost her primary to a Democrat. But let's not cry for Jasmine Crockett, because she got herself a new job. Not sure how well you could see that, but playing with AI, that's Jasmine Crockett in her brand new Dallas Cowboy cheerleader uniform. And that ends the sexist part of the show. Oh boy. Okay, what else do I have on Twitter? So I had a conversation today with somebody very close to me, and she had reservations. We again, as a lifetime leftist, those are the circles I travel in, and so a lot of people in my orbit are very much against what we're doing in Iran right now. But this person wanted to know what I thought, and I said what I thought, and most importantly, I wanted to stress this is a war of liberation. This is not a war of imperialism. This is a war of liberation. And if anybody wants to doubt that, let me share a few things about that. I'm probably going to close the show with a video that I haven't watched yet. I skimmed it, but I was looking for material about what the reaction of the population of Iran has been to what's happening there now. And we'll watch it together for a while. But first, let me go back to my Twitter feed, because I got some bookmarks that I believe I'd like to share. Okay, so that one, you see two men with AK-47s pointing them at each other, but the person on the left has a baby carriage between him and his foe, and the person on the right is defending a baby carriage. Talk about a picture being worth 1,000 words. That picture is worth every word we've heard since October 7th, 2023. I couldn't sum up the Gaza part of this story, which, by the way, is funded by Iran. All roads lead to Iran. Ellen from the BQE on October 8th emailed me and said, this was Iran. I think she had Iran in capital letters. She was sure, but I had no idea. I just knew it was horrible. The Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, they're all funded by Iran. Now let me go to my actual Twitter feed. I had to share that one. But I have a few things I shared I bookmarked on Twitter. And right away, you see a woman in Iran expressing her heartfelt feelings for the Ayatollah. Here's a woman in London. I'm gonna play this. She expresses it pretty.
United States and Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the UN, condemned the military escalation taken by the United States and Israel against the Iranian regime, saying it undermines international peace and security. Antonio, for the love of God, shut the fuck up. We are tired of you. Last month, whilst the Iranian regime was slaughtering tens of thousands of Iranian civilians, you congratulated them on their anniversary. You hypocrite. You do not get to weigh in on peace and security when you propped up the entity responsible for all of the instability in the Middle East. Why does Hamas exist? Iran. Why does Hezbollah exist? Iran. Why do the Houthis exist? Iran. Who made the IEDs that blew up American soldiers in Iraq? Iran. Who was building an extremely secretive, unchecked nuclear program? Iran. Why are there military bases in Kuwait, in Saudi Arabia, in Bahrain, in the UAE, in Qatar? To protect them from who? The Islamic Republic of Iran. And despite all of this, what did you and your sordid organization do? You gave them legitimacy. The UN elevated the Islamic Republic of Iran into positions of power within the UN, allowing them to chair multiple committees and multiple bodies, including human rights. You're a joke. Your organization is a joke. So whilst I and millions of other individuals around the world celebrate the success of the US and Israel's joint strike and celebrate the beginning of the end of an oppressive, tyrannical, murderous regime that has violated every single human right known to man and that's held the good people of Iran in shackles for 47 years, you and your useless organization can rot in hell, along with Khamenei, Nasrallah, Sinwar, Deif, Haniya, Shamkhani, and all the others who dared to threaten humanity. Fuck you.
Shiv said, I'm Iranian. People who have never lived under oppression and never had to fight for their freedom or their country are trying to tell me what is better for my country. That honestly makes me laugh. Open your eyes and watch Iranians literally crying tears of happiness. Stop acting like you're the only people in the world who understand. Stop being racist. Yar. These are people, again, I have no idea who any of these people are, but here we go. Yar. I'm telling the free world straight from the heart of Tehran. If the internet gets completely shut down, know that we, the people of Iran, want this war to keep going until the Islamic regime is totally wiped out. Don't let the left fool you with their anti-war propaganda. Long live America, long live Israel, long live Iran, long live King Reza Pahlavi. You know, and again, it saddens me that anti-war has become a pejorative. But in this particular case, there we are. Yeah, Thomas Massey puts up a poll, and it's kind of a skewed poll. Do you want a U.S.-led war with Iran? But he doesn't say yes or no. He says no, yes, and attacking is not war. So you have 52% saying yes, which is already a majority. But if you had most of that 7% who say attacking is not war, you know, you only have 41% saying it's not in their interest. Maybe it jumps to 43. I don't know his name because I can't read Farsi. Dear American friends, I'm an Iranian living in Tehran. I want to tell you that Iran is not like Afghanistan or Iraq. If your government attacks the Ayatollah regime, we will overthrow the regime from inside immediately. This war is not going to be long, and your tax money and the lives of your soldiers will not be at risk. Please do not oppose the war and let Iran finally be free in the future. USA and Iran will be good friends. And so that's what we have on my Twitter feed. I do have one more video that I want to share. So when I went to do my Blathercast tonight, I wanted to find something that supported my contention that that this really is an act of liberation and not an act of imperialism. And I found this video, and I'm going to admit I didn't watch it. I skimmed it. So let's watch it together.
I hope that our king, our Shahanshah, will return and rebuild our country, and my country can see better days. Javid Shah.
We've been waiting for this moment 47 years. 47 years. And this is amazing. Thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you for keeping your words. Thank you. We really needed it.
It's the best day of my life. Hearing this news, Khamenei is dead.
I'm just so excited. It's been for 47 years and it's over. We can't believe it's over.
It's a relief, you know, that anybody gets killed is not really something that you can rejoice. But I know that he wanted to be a murderer. He was ready to be killed, and he deserved what he got.
As much as the mainstream media wants to make you think that Iranians are all heartbroken about the fact that their beloved supreme leader is killed by a foreign power, by Israel, and all the lefties want to make you think like, oh, this is the worst thing that ever happened, American intervention. What you don't see is the fact that the Iranians are fucking celebrating this, and they're so excited. They've been waiting for this moment for 50 years. And the IRGC has unfortunately cracked down on a lot of these celebrations. I know we're seeing a lot of happiness and glee, but that this is not over. The IRGC has attacked these people, and we don't even know what the numbers of the deaths are right now, but they've mass murdered people since morning today. Iranian women are dancing in the streets without their hair coverings after hearing that Israel killed the tyrant Khomeini.
Absolute insane scenes in North London, in Finchley, as a huge crowd of Iranians have come out to celebrate the fall of Khomeini. We got the Trump flag, of course. Uncle Donald, look at this. Absolute insanity right now in North London. The monarchists, the pro-freedom, Iranians, Democrats, everybody out.
معلم داشتی گفتش چه سالشی معادله های زیر هشتم یادت بازد کنار گوشم ما تو مدرسه ای بگی من نهما دارم این
So we got the great news yesterday that Ayatollah Khamenei is and he's gone. It was the best news what all Iranian could ever get. People in Iran were happy, we're dancing in the street, and we are here to support the people of Iran, the 40,000 plus people that got killed in 2 days in a very short amount of time. We are here to be their voice, and we are here to say thank you to President Trump, thank you to Bibi Netanyahu, and whoever support people of Iran. President Trump stayed true to his word that help is on the way, and help came yesterday. And in the first day, they got Ali Khamenei out. So we're so happy for that. People of Iran are happy now.
And you were telling me just horrible stories about things that you have endured. Explain to people who aren't aware what it's like over there and why you say this had to happen.
People doesn't even have basic freedoms that like we are it in this country. They don't have freedom of speech. Even like the woman can just choose what they want to wear. They're forced to wear hijabs, and if they don't, you can get tortured. So basic human right that the people are enjoying here, it's been people of Iran were like didn't have it for last 47 years.
So the news has traveled very quick. I remember last night where I was when it happened. It was absolutely insane. It was a crazy moment.
Dear Donald Trump, we love you. Every single Iranian right now loves you and wants to kiss you. We're going home. We're going home.
Okay. I'm gonna stop that one there. I'll put a link in the description of this video when once I get done with this. If you want to watch the rest of it, there's another like 10 minutes worth of it. One last thing I forgot to talk about. Last night I was driving home from work. I was talking to my lawyer on the phone, and he's kind of left of center. He's got his share of TDS. He definitely not a fan of Mr. Trump, but I'm his client, so he doesn't go all savage on me. But he raised the point that a lot of people are raising. And I will address that point now as I address it to him. He said, okay, what if the mullahs are replaced with something worse? So as BQ Ellen said, I like to do analogies. So my analogy on that is this. And by the way, a lot of F-bombs in this show, and here comes another off-color word. Let's say you're eating a shit sandwich. You got a shit sandwich in your hand. You know it's gonna taste like shit because that's what shit tastes like. Shit tastes like shit. Not that I would know. But let's say you have a shit sandwich, and Monty Hall from Let's Make a Deal suddenly appears in front of you and says, "Hey, Blathering Boomer," or whoever you are, you could keep that seat. You could eat that shit sandwich, or you could have what's behind door number 2. If you would not take what's behind door number 2, I want to hear from you at UNG714, Ugly Nasty Guy 714, because I dare say that anybody with any amount of gray matter would take what's behind door number 2 over the shit sandwich that has been the government of Iran for 47 years. Sorry to hold back. One of these days, I'll tell you how I really feel. Anyway, I want to, it sounds like we have the hardcore Blatherverse watching tonight. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the comments. This is, this is essentially a monologue, but I like it to be a conversation as well. And this is an opportunity for all of us to have a little bit of a platform. Once again, Kate, I'll say it again. You and your husband, you're heading for Canada's Supreme Court. I didn't know Canada had a Supreme Court, but you're heading there. You're heading to Canada's Supreme Court to fight for Stanley Park. I am I am open to, again, next Thursday, I'm going to be telling stories about prison, but anytime you and your husband are available, we can agree on a time. We'll record a segment. I will give you guys final editing say. Let's get your side of the story out there, and we'll post it on Twitter. We'll post it on Facebook. We'll get some views. So that invitation's out there. Jersey Johnny Egypt and LMBQE, thank you as always for tuning in. It makes me feel good. It makes me want to do this every Thursday. And I can't do it every Thursday, travel schedule. It's hard to do this on the road. But I just did it 2 Thursdays in a row. How like that? And I'm going to do it next Thursday for sure. So this is the part of the Blathercast where I start blathering, and that's what I've been doing for the last couple of minutes. So without further ado, let me close it by saying those 4 words, which are: the boomer has blathered. Thank you so much for watching.